A couple months ago, I decided to limit the amount of videos I upload talking about how terrible Pokemon TCG Live is. Unfortunately, the developers have made that task almost impossible. Still, not wanting to break this rule like a New Year's resolution about giving less foot massages, I'll be combining a few rants into one. Because unlike PTCGL, I'm efficient. Alright, so, earlier this month, the Pokemon Company announced that the Pokemon TCG Card Dex app is shutting down forever on Wednesday, September 20th at around 10 AM Pacific. As a result, 151 isn't coming to the app. This was a complete shock and seemed to come out of nowhere, but I assumed it was due to low downloads or something. Nope. While you can't see download numbers for Apple devices, the Google Play Store says it's been downloaded more than 5 million times. This image provides another hint as to why it's going offline. It just never worked properly. After nearly 13,000 reviews, the Card Dex app is at a 2.7 out of 5. Ironically, that's still better than TCG Live, which is currently at a 2.2 out of 5. And believe it or not, a 2.2 is higher than what Live's been in the past. Anyways, why is the Card Dex so poorly reviewed? Well, it has to do with the biggest selling feature. Being able to scan your cards into the app with their state-of-the-art image recognition feature. Problem is, according to users, it never worked properly. Searching through the reviews, you'll find countless people giving it 1 star because the app never scanned their card correctly, either by outright not working or thinking it's a completely different card. To test this feature for myself, I did scan some cards I got in exchange for feet pics. I had to find the perfect lighting and the perfect background, but it did scan every card correctly, except for the colorless Stuffle, likely because I had a white background. It's just an extremely tedious task, and I don't know why anyone would want to spend an hour scanning some cards when they could have tapped a button to mark it as owned. According to the Pokemon Company though, the real reason they're shutting down the Card Dex is because of Pokemon TCG Live and nothing else. In a statement on the forums, they said, "The decision to sunset the Pokemon TCG Card Dex app was made to dedicate our full resources to the ongoing development of Pokemon TCG Live, ensuring that we're devoting our efforts to providing players with the best possible digital Pokemon TCG experience." If this talk about devoting all resources to Pokemon TCG Live sounds familiar, that's because they use the same exact line when sunsetting PTCGO. In the 8 months since that PTCGO announcement, they've added a total of 0 new features to Live. And something like the Toedscruel EX bug introduced with Obsidian Flames hasn't been fixed over a month later. It's also hilarious to see them talk about making Live the best possible digital Pokemon TCG experience. Yeah, that's not difficult after they shut down the better digital Pokemon TCG experience earlier this year. And to address the part about dedicating full resources to Live, PTCGO was developed by Direwolf, while PTCGL is developed by the Pokemon Company International, so it makes you wonder what resources PTCGO was taking up. The Card Dex app, however, was made by the Pokemon Company International, who has a terrible track record on mobile devices. The only app they've made with a user review score above 3 is Pokemon TV. Everything else has been massive disappointments across the board. While poor review scores, disappointing functionality, and devoting resources to PTCGL are all possible reasons why the Card Dex app is gone, the biggest is probably that it's redundant. On the forums, the Pokemon Company says that you'll still be able to use the trading card database to search for cards from past and current expansions. The trading card database is basically just the Card Dex app minus the scanning, but it's already part of their website and includes cards dating all the way back to the EX era. So if you still want a way to easily search for Pokemon cards, the trading card database is more than a suitable replacement for the Card Dex. But Pilot, I hear you thinking because I can read your mind, why haven't you complained about TCG Live in the past minute? Don't worry, I'm getting to that. When 151 launches on Thursday in Live, it will include this new Onix card. The attack, Ivana Thumpalanche, does damage based on the number of 4 retreat cost Pokemon you discard from the top of your deck. Let's say you've never played Pokemon cards online before, opened a 151 pack, and decided to build a deck around Onix in Live. You go to filters to find 4 retreat cost Pokemon, and there's literally no way to find 4 retreat cost Pokemon. Do you know what you do after that? Uninstall Live and go play Marvel Snap or Runeterra or Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or Hearthstone. But that begs the question, how do you search for Pokemon with a 4 retreat cost in Live? By literally going one by one and manually checking the retreat cost of each card. Seriously. While PTCGL had filters for things like retreat cost, and the Card Dex app did as well, TCG Live does not. Because that announcement for the closure of the Card Dex app mentioned devoting all resources to Live, I thought they might be adding basic filter functionality to the game with the 151 update this week. I should have known I'd be disappointed. According to the patch notes for 151, there's no new features being added, which is the same thing that's been happening with every update in the past 19 months. So if you want to build that Onyx deck in Live, you have to go to the trading card database, know which sets are standard legal, select all of them, select for retreat cost, write down all of the ones you want, then manually add them to your deck in TCG Live. Or you can simplify things by buying a second monitor or building the deck on your phone while using the database on your computer. But while you're doing that, your phone battery will drain to 0, and then you'll miss the phone call about your ex-wife being in labor, but you ultimately won't care because it's not your child and you wonder why they bothered calling you in the first place. Anyways, let's dive a little deeper into that new update. After 16 hours of scheduled maintenance in 5 days, the PTCGL developers are adding these new features. The 151 expansion, updated animations for foil patterns, and visuals to indicate a forced coin flip result. That's it. For a game that didn't have massive issues like players not being able to select cards from their deck on a regular basis, this would be fine. But making foil cards look better and giving us an indicator for the side deck card aren't anywhere close to what the game needs right now. What about the specific card fixes? There's only 4, and 3 of them are expanded cards. The only standard card being addressed is Collapse Stadium, which is fixing who discards their Pokemon first. Nothing about Toad's Cruel EX or Vespiquen or Gardevoir EX. To be fair, the 2 general fixes are actually really good, but the first is a new bug they introduced a few months ago, and the second should have been fixed before it left beta. But the glitch where an empty collection window would appear, sometimes resulting in players entering 2 matches at once, is being addressed, and so is the app restarting if you navigated away from it to look at a twerking Snorlax while your opponent took a 5-minute turn with Mew VMAX. To sum up this latest PTCGL rant video, the Card Dex app is shutting down because the trading card database is better, and Pokemon TCG Live is getting an update that doesn't fix any of the major issues. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to go mentally prepare myself to play Live for several weeks because it's the only way I can afford to import my foot lotion from Germany.